Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and I'm here to fight CPS and save your children. Um, I'm a loving father of six children. I have a wife of 32 years, and I too was caught up in the CPS, the Child Protection System nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was a horrible, horrible experience. Now, there's several ways you can interact on this podcast. I want to give you a warm welcome that you've come to the right place. And one of the first ways you can interact with this podcast is by being in the room. You don't have to do anything but listen. That's one way. All you have to do is listen. Lost my mouse pointer here. I'm trying to find my mouse pointer. Oh, there it is. Okay. Too much with a white background. I need to change my mouse pointer to a different color. Okay. Another way to interact is by texting comments to me. Now, there's a certain way of texting comments that I like you to do. Texting comments is an easy way to try to get an answer. I do refresh them, I read them to the room, and a lot of people will help me and so forth. Now, when you type in your comment, it should be a CPS question. What I mean by that is that there's a lot of topics in this world we could talk about, but we're here to talk about the child protection system and how I maybe help you with saving your children or getting your children back. That's basically, I give advice from firsthand experience, and I have listeners that from around the country and around the world. I have about 13 countries that have text and comments there. I'm not a lawyer, but I do have a lot of experience. I've been fighting them for about 15 years. Now, when you text in your comment, please show your name, city, state, or country. Again, I mentioned country because so far, the countries that have called in about their CPS issues have been um, Bangladesh, which is a real poor country. Um, they're next to India, and India has also called in too, or text a comment in there. So I've had New Delhi, India, and Bangladesh. And then I've had Africa, the continent of Africa, several countries there. South Africa, one of the provinces, has text a comment in. And then above South Africa, I have Mozambique on the east coast of Africa, across from Madagascar. And then I've had Rwanda, which is near the central east of Africa, near the big lake Victoria. And that has been a horrible, horrible story in the 1990s when over 1 million people were killed and 400 women were raped. It was a terrible genocide that helped. Oh boy. Now, also in Africa, on the west coast, northern Africa, is Liberia. And the gentleman there was Archie, and he's called in several times. He's on just a couple days ago. But he likes to see how we're doing in handling CPS. He's involved in the scouting program. He says he's a big time scout leader. And that is the boys and girls that are in the old Boy Scout program. It's now called Scouting. Going to Europe, we've had England, Scotland, Wales of the United Kingdom. We've had Denmark and Sweden. And then across the pond, we have North America with Canada on both coasts, have text in. All the 50 states I've heard from, including Washington, D.C. And then I have Mexico across the border. They too have text a message in. And then across the, before I leave Mexico, down South America, I've had Guyana. Guyana is a small country east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. They have a coastal town called Georgetown. And they had text a message in. Then across the big pond, across the Pacific Ocean, the land down yonder is Australia. I've had them too. So I have quite a lot of different states and countries. I've talked to over 500 people and have gotten pretty much a consensus that the CPS system is corrupt, bad, and not transparent, and will lie and cheat, all for the money. They're into the money thing. It's an $80 billion business, so it's all about money. Now, try to be complete with your CPS case. It helps me if you tell me your family makeup. If your family is a husband, wife, or a girlfriend, boyfriend, or lovers, or partnerships, and then how many children you have, and are all the children by the same parent or different parents involved. I'm trying to understand your picture. Then you should come with what allegations. Was it negligence or was it abuse, and what were the detailed charges? And then after that, how they take your children. Did you give them to them? Did they come into your home? Did you let them in? Those are the things that can help me decide. And then where you at now in your case? Where you at now in your case? Where you at now? So we had someone just come into the room. We had Stephanie Lopez. And welcome, Stephanie Lopez, to my podcast. And she says her name is Stephanie Lopez. I have a Department of Children and Family Service case open right now. I have 4 kids. I live in California. How can I get my kids back? They've been in foster care since last year in November. She further says they only took them away because the father violated the stay away order and they went by hearsay instead of having evidence that he was there. I'm so sorry to hear about that. Apparently the father is not part of your family unit. I don't know what the allegations were that you're accused of. That would help me if you could tell me that. I don't know where in California you're talking from. That would help too. And so you can get your kids back, but you got to be careful that your parental rights have not been terminated. Usually when kids are put into foster care, the clock starts ticking, and their goal is to take your children and traffic them into foster care. I'm sad, but that's what they want to do. That is really, really hard for you because that's not the answer you want to hear. But you can get your kids back. You have to do what they said in your plan. I don't know what your plan involves. And also, you need to show that evidence that the father wasn't there. You need to show some type of evidence, like recording evidence. Is there a police report that says the father was there? Did the police make a report about it? There's a ways that you can go before the judge. You can have in California a 388 petition because if you have new evidence, you can have a hearing within 30 days and show them that the husband was not there, the father was not there. Okay, you're in the LA County. That is a very bad agency, and that is Bell Gardens is a small city. I know where that is, and I'm accused of being there when he wasn't there. I don't know why your presence, Stephanie, would be there. I'll be back with you in a second. I need to finish the how you interact with my podcast. Now, I just talked about texting comments. That's the second way. A third way to interact with this podcast is to be a guest on my podcast. I've had many people be a guest on the podcast. And if you want to be on, I'm on 14 shows a week, Monday through Sunday. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. Instead, on Sunday, I'm on at 8, though. Sunday, I'm on at 8, but every other day, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. And that's for 1 hour. Then again, I'm on the evening. Boy, I need some water to drink. On the evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. So you have 14 shows to choose from, morning or evening, Monday through Sunday. All you have to do is email my show producer. Her name is Grace. She works behind the scenes, helping me out and keep me in line. But she also will help you with the link, because we use an application called StreamYard that's broadcasted on YouTube. And so that link she will give you and so forth. The email for Grace is grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. Schedule a time. I'd love to have you on my show. And it's easy as that. We had a girl not too long ago, yesterday, was Alyssa, and she had a very unusual case because she has her son who had a baby at 15 or at 14 with a girl that she brought into the home that she was trying to adopt. And so you have two 14-year-olds having sex, and now they have a baby. But anyway, it's important that you can be on my show. So that's the third way to interact. A fourth way is to call into my phone number. My phone number is 626-698-0990. That's my office number. We use Vonage here to work the phones. So just call in 626-698-0990, and my phone will take it. My phone will take it. Now, Stephanie further said there was a stay away order from DCFS. So I signed it, and then they told me that they could use that against me to take the kids away. Why would signing a stay away order? Okay. Good morning. This is Bob Pace. Who am I speaking to?
This is Shauna Broadway again from Oklahoma. We spoke last night about my situation with the tribe.
Oh yes, with the Indian Child Welfare Agency there in Oklahoma, who is sounds very corrupt. From I remember you talking yesterday. Would you like to finish with your case?
Yes, I don't know where exactly, if there's specific questions you want to ask me or a certain part you want me to go back to.
Well, here is the thing is, most likely the tribe is hard to get a hold of in every other state. there was the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978 that was long overdue. It's over 100 years overdue. And what it did, it said the Indian tribe would take care of their own Indian children. All CPS had to do, the child protection system had to do, was notify the tribe and find out if your child is registered or could be registered with the tribe. Now, see, you're already with a tribe in Oklahoma. And so, if that is the case, the Child Protection Agency was the first people out there. They have to turn your children, in your case, over to the Indian tribe. Now, the tribe, you say in Oklahoma, works like an agency, and they're the ones that have tried to intervene and take care of your children, right?
Yes, but there's more to that.
Okay.
I have found out that everything I'm dealing with in my situation is by the hands of one person that's these people are underneath and taking orders from. And she is an attorney general that is acting as the attorney on my son's case against me, even though my son already has an attorney.
Is that attorney general a member of the tribe?
Yes. And that's how all the things that I was sharing with you have occurred. The falsifying documents, the getting away with doing all these things that you and I would both know are not right, not even on a legal standpoint. I have found out that she has got family members in every head position of these departments that I'm dealing with.
Well, I'm trying to understand this particular agency. I'm grabbing some water as I speak now. Sorry for the background noise. Just had to get some water in my throat. It was getting kind of squeaky. Just 1 second here, if I may. I have a comment that came in since you were talking, and I need to address it. I don't understand, Stephanie, about the stay away order from DCF. Why do you need to stay away? What is the allegations against you? I realize that you have a stay away order from the fathers of the kids, but you can explain that further. Francis Fosse Frankie. There is one honest West Virginia politician who cares about the people, and we stand for this veteran and demonstrate what it means to do the right thing and uphold the law. I assume you, Francis, are from West Virginia. Let it be clear that this family will not stop fighting until justice is brought home. Until Jordan is brought home. That must be your child. Your child must have been taken from you. A retired veteran reality when her daughter has a baby with a Native American black man in West Virginia. Will someone please help this family? Is there any group or persons or organizations which actually cares about the people? Well, here's my question, Francis. You have a baby daughter, Jaden, who's your daughter, and the father is a native black man in West Virginia. Now, are you both married, or did you have the child out of wedlock on that? And then what are the allegations? And I can try to help you. On the phone, I have from Oklahoma, I have your first name again. I'm sorry. Shannon?
Shauna.
Yeah, Shannon.
Shauna.
Yeah, Shauna from Oklahoma, who has an interesting case. Apparently, Oklahoma, the Indian tribe, has taken a very active role in the child protection system. In fact, that's the problem she has. I don't know. Now, Shannon, was CPS ever involved in the beginning?
Of the children's life or this situation?
Well, of the children's life in this situation, I guess both.
Um, until this situation, I have never dealt with CPS. There has never been any allegations against me. Nothing like that. And it is funny to me how, this started with my child acting out. And he did criminal acts that he should have been held accountable for that would have in turn get him help. It started with getting the police involved. CPS only got involved when I began to expose things with these police and people involved in the situation that was not being handled correctly.
How old was the child? How old is the child?
He was 15 when this started, but now he is 16.
Okay, so he's a 15-9 juvenile. And so being a 15, he's now 16. He's at that rough age of being a teenager. Now, what is he doing that's illegal or wrong? What's he doing?
Okay, so throughout the 12-month period that I was discussing with you, the things that I was having to call the law about in the beginning was just him running away from home or destructing property. But after the cops got involved and I found out all these things they were doing with my child, his behavior became worse. And it was a reflection of what these police officers and people were not doing right. And I'll be honest with you, I think in the beginning, my son is a good manipulator. They may have believed his little fairy tales, or maybe they were just tired of being called to my house. I don't know. But either way, the only thing that my child has seemed to tell the truth about is what is going on in this situation and what these people are doing. Because my own child has told me everything they're going to do to me before they do it. He told me 6 months ago that I will never win this, that I might as well give up because they're building a case against me and I'm not going to win. And then it was after that they did indeed file a case against me, and I'm still fighting it, and they obtain custody right now. But the thing is that I won't keep my mouth shut about this mishandling and things that has occurred with him in this situation. So now they're trying to come after my other two children that they've never messed with. They went on open court and record and said that this did not pertain to my other two children, nor would it affect them. But then Friday, when I refused to sign a document I didn't feel comfortable with, I was told if I did not sign it that I was going to lose my other two children that were not involved, and they done said that on an open record. But this woman has been allowed to hide and falsify documents and things to cover up these things.
These people you're talking about in relationship, are they part of CPS system? Are they part of the Indian child welfare? It's all. Now, why would the tribe?
CPS,
why would the tribe take an active role in your case? They're supposed to help you.
I was questioning that myself in the beginning, and what I have realized with all the evidence I have occurred and documented, which is over 2,000 pieces of evidence, I might add, that it is more of a situation where you got to understand my child is out here doing what he wants. Even though he is in CPS custody, I've got evidence that
stop for a second. Stop for a second.
Underage girls.
Yeah. Okay. You said CPS custody. I thought he was in criminal custody. Okay. Being disruptive or running away from home is not a CPS matter or a tribe matter. That is a criminal matter. That's with juvenile courts. And that is something that the police would be involved in. Why is the CPS involved with your son?
Well, he has made false allegations throughout this ordeal to stay out of the home, and they want to use that as their baseline to keep him in their custody. But the thing that don't make
wait a
sense
minute,
about
isn't he also an Indian child? So wouldn't the Indian welfare for children, wouldn't that agency be involved with your son? Why is CPS involved in your son?
Well, it's like I told you yesterday. The labels, it's ICW, which is basically Indian CPS, that has custody of him right now. But the allegations that he has made has been investigated by criminal investigators, and I recorded these encounters, and they said that everything my son has said has then been proven false, and they've caught him in lies and stuff. So there should never have been a case against me in the first place over something that police had done investigated, and I was never arrested, never criminally charged, and they left 2 children in my care for 12 months. And now 12 months later, you want to bring me to court for these things that have been investigated and proven false because of what they know I got against them. Because like I said, I've got 2,000 pieces of evidence in this 12 months of this whole case being mishandled, and they know people would lose their jobs and their departments would get investigated. So they've used these powers and things that they're doing to keep me shut up in court. When I went to court Friday, I was not allowed to show none of my evidence. I wasn't allowed to take the stand, nor was I allowed to have any witnesses on my behalf.
Were you pro se or being represented by a court-appointed attorney?
Court-appointed attorney.
Well,
they are forcing
when you
me to
unfortunately, when you have
unfortunately,
when you have an attorney represent you, you cannot speak in court. You cannot address the judge. You cannot say anything. Your attorney is your representative. So in order for you to talk in court, you need to fire your court-appointed attorney and do it pro se, meaning once you get rid of your court-appointed attorney, you can tell the judge, you can approach the bar, you can explain to them what your things are. That's the hard thing that people don't seem to realize. When you have a case brought against you and you do not get a real attorney and you go with a court-appointed attorney, the court-appointed attorney will not fight for your case. They have a caseload of 30 people, so they don't have time for your case. And they're going to push it along the easy way. They're not going to fight. They're not going to fight. So
there's a couple of important things, Mr. Pace, that I would like to ask you and get your direction on, because when I said that there was criminal things that my son had did that was swept from the record and never
that should be in criminal court. That should be in criminal court. What court are you working in? Are you working in a dependency court?
Tribe.
You're working in a tribe.
It's all through the tribe.
See, I don't understand how this tribe has a handlehold of the police, the CPS. Every state has a child protection system. And the tribe only gets involved if it's an Indian trial. But they don't go overboard. I just cannot believe that the Indian tribe has the attorney general as its chief. What Indian tribe is this?
Cherokee Nation.
Okay, the Cherokee Nation is one of 547 tribes. They're no better than the Lakota Sioux, the Crow, the Chippewa, the Navajo, the Apache, the Comanche. All the different tribes are no better. They don't have any more power than the next tribe. Yes, with Indian families and Indian children, they will take care of your child instead of CPS. The government enacted a law that appointed every state to have a child protection system. Some are called different things. I don't know if in Oklahoma, because I have talked to other people from Oklahoma, and they've never mentioned an Indian tribe orchestrating CPS. So what has happened is somehow this vendetta they have against you or this chain of command, you're going to have to get yourself an attorney. I know you say you don't have money, but unless you don't get an attorney, it's like you do an open heart surgery yourself. It's like you're cutting open your chest and you're trying to pull your heart out and repair it. As you know, that won't work. And it won't work to get a mechanic to do open heart surgery, or they get somebody else to do it, like a friend or family. You need to get a doctor, a professional. And that's where you need to get a dependency attorney. You want to get somebody that is knowledgeable about dependency law that works both juveniles and family court. It's dependency judge you need, attorney you need. And you got yourself a real bad case because somehow the Cherokee are on a war path, and I don't know why they're trying to exercise or overstate their rights. Yes, on their reservation, the federal government can't tell them what to do. That's the thing is, when they, in the 1875s and so many years after that, the Indians were given that their own matters would be handled on their reservation. For instance, they have a reservation police and so forth. But what's happened is you've been railroaded to thinking that this Indian, the ICW, called Indian Child Welfare Agency, I guess I'm adding an aid to it. So the ICW is in charge of your case. And that's only if you want them to. If you don't like the way the tribe is handling it, you can go to CPS. You can go to Child Protection
Every
Services.
time I've tried to do that, they have said that everything regarding this situation and my son has to go to the tribe.
They don't have to go that. Are you living on Are you living on Cherokee land right now?
Yes. Half of Oklahoma is considered Cherokee land. Yeah. And that's how they forced us in the beginning to deal with the tribe, is because we hold Indian card, we are native, and we live in their jurisdiction. But something that you need to understand important about this situation is when they illegally removed my child from the home, I held all rights and custody when that happened. The police removed him, not CPS, not a judge, the police officers. And they said that it was this attorney general and the DJJ department over my son's case that was telling them to do these things. But when they placed him in one of these individuals' homes, my son did stuff to her and her kids in her home. And so she went to the police to file reports on what my child did in her home when they placed him, and they gag ordered her that she's not allowed to talk about anything. So she's had to hire an attorney and fight in this situation too. It pretty much seems like anyone that comes out about the true nature of what is going on with my kid, they come after to silence, because you cannot show the truth of this situation without exposing their mishandling and what they've done wrong. And that's why they're going so hard in this, to keep me silent. And they're using my son, sadly, as a pawn to continue doing that. When they hold evidence of the truth of the situation and continue to block it out where it's not seen and heard.
Well,
so I'm just really at a place like,
well,
I don't know who to turn to. I've been talking to news and...
Yeah, you can talk to the news. You can be per se fight yourself. But until you get an attorney, you're going to go nowhere, because they have the money and the power to... there are 14 counties in Oklahoma that are Cherokee Nation Reservation. What county are you in? Mays. Mays, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're in Mays, and that is a reservation there. It's nearly 7,000 square miles in size. It's headquartered in Tequila, Oklahoma. Have you been to THLEQUAH, Oklahoma?
Yeah, it's pronounced Tahlequah, and that's where all our court proceedings have been, is in
right.
Tahlequah.
That is where it is. The Cherokee Nation is the most popular tribal nation in the United States, with 370,000 citizens. The reservation boundaries are over those counties, and the nation is a reservation and was never de-established by Congress. So this is the first time I've been involved with the Cherokee Nation. Now, I'm familiar with the Lakota Sioux and the Rosebud Reservation because I'm Lakota Sioux. So I know how the Rosebud Reservation works. They're nowhere near the power that the Cherokee Nation seems to have.
And again, I would remind you that I have done my own personal research on things. And when you asked the question earlier of, why or how would this attorney general be controlling, CPS and stuff in this situation, I found out that she was the executive director of this ICW before she became attorney general.
Okay. Now, do you get a check from the Cherokee Nation of $10,000 per year?
No.
Well, it says that they give out monthly checks to families. They're biannual. They're $5,000 per biannual. That's $10,000 per year. I mean, you should ask them, where is my monthly check or my biannual check?
Yeah, that's new knowledge to me. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I this new to me here, but it says how much does a Cherokee get per month? And you have to be a registered Cherokee, which I imagine you are. They're supposed to get free health care at tribal-run clinics and hospitals. Prescription drugs, eyeglasses, and hospitalization are all covered under the system. So this is a pretty big. This is something new that I'm glad I'm. Do Cherokee Indians have to pay federal tax? Let's see there. That's something. Yes, you do have to pay federal income tax. As sovereignty entitles, tribal government have the power to levy taxes on reservation lands. Okay.
So when there is a separation from state and tribe, and you went as high up as your governor and as high up in Cherokee Nation as you can with these matters, with who is it that you can go to? There's got to be somebody higher.
Well,
up than
you
them
have
that
your
they have
senators. You have 2 senators from the state of Oklahoma. I don't know how many representatives you have because it depends on your population. But you can go to your senators and you can go to your representatives because you need to take it to Congress. That's how high up you can do.
Yeah, because as a mother, there is things that, in the way it's been handled with my child, the criminal acts I told you about, in November of last year, when they removed him from my home, he cut my arm open. And then 3 weeks prior to that, he tried to hit me in the head with a hammer and was arrested for that.
Okay, slow down.
And then
slow down. He's doing all these criminal acts. Are you telling me the Cherokee tribe is in charge of the policemen in your what city are you in?
Yes.
What city?
Pryor.
No, what city is your city? It's not yes, is it? What's the name of your city?
No, I said Pryor, Oklahoma.
Oh, Pryor. Now, is the Pryor Police Department run by the tribe?
No, they are cross-deputized, but the Indian marshals, cops have jurisdiction. The town police of Pryor are cross-deputized, but they only get involved if it's a situation that is deemed serious and the cops can't get here because there's such a broad place that they cover. They're not always available when you call, like the city police.
Okay,
but
besides the represent.
In the beginning of this,
I was going to say.
In the beginning of this, the city police were involved, and they saw what I was dealing with, and they chose not to be involved. Anytime I would call them, they would say, "We don't want to be involved. Call the Indian cops," which they didn't have that right to do that. They're cross-deputized, but they knew things in the situation that were going on in the beginning and that they didn't want to be a part of. So yet again, I was forced to even deal with the tribe police.
Well, if you want to get help, you're going to have to leave that tribe. As long as you stay a member of the tribe, I know you don't want to give away your Indian rights, but it sounds like you don't have any rights as an Indian tribe member, as a Cherokee, because your rights, you have things called constitutional and civil rights. They're not taken away because you're a member of the Cherokee Nation. Your constitutional rights, like the 7th Amendment, the 2nd Amendment, there are rights in there. You need to know it. This is the problem. If you're not going to get an attorney, then you're going to have to fight it alone, and you're going to have to do weeks and weeks of internet research. You're going to have to become an expert, and you're going to have to get not only the representatives or the senators involved, you're going to have to get the governor involved. Is the governor the king of the tribe, or is he independent?
Well, I actually went to the governor because he's known to expose corruption himself. within Cherokee Nation, so I knew he would be a good person to go to. But due to the laws, like we spoke earlier, of separation of state and tribe and all that, there's nothing that he can do. I did contact references that were given to me through him and other senators and people of power that I've talked to, that I have not found. Every time I talk to these people, they say, we've got investments and businesses within Cherokee Nation. That's a risk for us. We can't get involved. So basically, everybody's scared to go up against these people, even though they see my evidence that this is a peculiar case and I've got a good case here. They're all scared to take it.
Have you gone to the web page for the Oklahoma Human Services?
That would be called Oklahoma DHS.
It's the Oklahoma Child Protection Services, CPS.
Yes, in the beginning of the issues that I was occurring with my son, especially when I seen the mishandlings from the tribe, I tried to get them involved, and they said, because we're native, this, that, the other.
This is the problem is you're going to have to leave the native. If you want help from anybody else, and the Cherokee Nation is very corrupt, you're going to have to fight them. And one way is you're going to have to say, I no longer want to be registered as a Cherokee Indian because you're not getting any benefits. Now, there is a director of the CPS in Oklahoma named Jennifer Postawait, and she has a phone number and a fax number and a mailing address in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And Child Protection Service, CPS, are provided through Oklahoma Department of Human, that's DHS, the Human Services, to identify, treat, and prevent child abuse and neglect. Now, your case is not child abuse. Your case is a criminal matter. So maybe CPS wouldn't get involved because, your child is under the age. But if your child is neglected or abused, now, has your son been accused? Have you been accused of abusing your son or neglecting your son?
Yes, but that is the problem, is that when those allegations from him was made, the criminal investigators investigated it and found it untrue. That's why nothing was ever done. I was never arrested. Nothing came of it because they saw that it was a lie.
Do you have paperwork that supports your claim? Do you have paperwork that supports your claim?
Yes, not to mention that I have recorded every encounter with every CPS worker, every officer. This is why they blocked out everything. I wasn't even allowed to show the judge the encounters with the police at my home.
You cannot show the judge because you're not representing yourself. You have a court-appointed attorney. In the court of law, there's laws that you may not know about. One thing I do know, that if you're represented by an attorney, only your attorney can talk to the judge. Only your attorney can do the things you want to do. And right now,
so what can you do if you have?
You have to fire the court-appointed attorney. You have to file the court-appointed attorney and get a real attorney.
Okay.
I mean, I'm serious. And you got to find the right one, because this is going to be a bombshell of a case to fight, because you're dealing with an entity that thinks they're above the law. The Indian Child Welfare, and I don't know what else is after that, but this group in Oklahoma sounds like they have a very bad case against you, very stressed out. If your son cut open your arm, he should have been charged by the local police with a criminal charge of injury. It's against the law to chop up people. It's against the law to stab people. It's against the law to shoot people.
And the other two children that are still in my custody and home witness these things as well.
Yeah, and that to me, and they're going to try and manipulate and take that children too. It's funny. It seems like the Indian tribe and the Cherokee tribe and the CPS in Oklahoma are working cahoots with each other. I don't know. That's why you have to step out of bounds of the norm. You have to get away from the Indian tribe and from CPS. You need to expose this to your state senator, to your representative. They go to Congress, they make decisions, they can bring that up, and then Congress can act on it too. Also, you need to get a hold of the government agency has an Indian liaison between all the 547 tribes, and then there is an Indian person that has been appointed by the President Biden to oversee the Indians. You need to get a hold of him or her. I don't know who that person is, but the federal government has an Indian. God, I'm trying to think of what they're called. Oh. It's called the Department of Indian Affairs. And that's the U.S. government. You need to contact them in Washington, D.C. They have an office. I've been there in Washington, D.C. And you need to contact them. And you need to make a grievance against the Cherokee tribe by going overbound. A grievance is a complaint. You got to make it a formal complaint. Again, without an attorney, you got a lot of head work to do, a lot of work to do and research it. But you got to be persistent at it. But it sounds like the DCS is in cahoots with the ICW. And I'm only using the acronym because the Indian Child Welfare, it's a shame that you can't work with the DCS because they think that you're part of the tribe. And maybe you are part of the tribe. I know that you're the first case I've heard of, and I've talked to over 500 people. A lot of people have a hard time getting the Indian tribe to do anything or to be registered to be a part of the Indian tribe. There are so many parents that call in and says, how do I get my case turned over to the Indian tribe? Not all tribes are strong like the Cherokee Nation is. That's one particular tribe that I know about, but I've not studied them. I know about a lot about the Plains Indians because my tribe is a plain tribe from the Plains Indians. And I know about the Cheyenne and the Crow and the people that the Lakota Sioux fought with and fought against with and so forth. But the Cherokee Nation has been around a long time. They're an Eastern tribe. Oklahoma was not the original starting point of the Cherokee. Oklahoma became the wasteland that the American government was assigning tribes to hang out at. It's a terrible place, Oklahoma, because the farmlands aren't as good and it's very dry. And it's over the years has become, and I'm not trying to downplay Oklahoma. I don't want people to think I'm against Oklahoma. I have been to Oklahoma City, by the way, and I found it a pretty place.
Well, I appreciate all your help, Mr. Pace. I hope that, I feel like I'm also in this situation to be a voice for other families because I have found out that I am not the only one that has dealt with this corruption by the hands of this Attorney General. So I feel like it needs to be exposed not just for my situation, but for what I know other families are dealing with at the hands of this tribe and this woman. So I will take your advice into consideration and see if I can't get something done, and I will try.
Well, I would contact the Indian Affairs in Washington, D.C. and find out what they can do about your problem. Okay? It's definitely the Indian Affairs is a higher up agency than the agencies you're dealing with. I would try to talk to the governor. I would try to talk to your representatives or your senators. Those are people that can help you. If you're saying that
because your statement that you read off their website, they said about, how they're here for reunifying families and all this stuff, and they're doing exact opposite in this situation. And what has taught in my child and his behavior issues, he's not gotten any help through the situation or held accountable for anything. And I see what is occurring with him since they've taken him into his custody, and now he's got a minor girl possibly pregnant, and the CPS admitted this to me. But he's been in their custody when this occurred.
How did he get the girl pregnant? I mean, was he in a
Well, they
co-ed
told
place?
me when he was taken out of my custody that he was in supervision at all times, that they placed him in a foster home of theirs and all this. But I have evidence of what's been going on with my son because we live in a small town. And he don't think, and he posts a lot of things on his social media as well. Well, he's been in a relationship with this minor girl, and now she's possibly pregnant, and I've got the CPS woman on my son's case admitting this to me, and I recorded it. And he was in their custody when this was allowed to happen.
How old is the girl?
15.
And he's 15. Okay.
No, now he's 16.
All right, 16. What is the age of consent in Oklahoma?
I don't know.
It's 16. I looked
head.
it up. It's 16. I looked it up. Okay. But there's also a thing called the Romeo and Juliet law. And if they're a couple years apart, he won't be charged with statutory rape. Minors can have sex if they're a couple years apart. The only trouble is he's brought a child and he has to be responsible for that child. That girl's got to be responsible. When people have children and their children having children, they have to understand they'll be responsible. You know, they'll have to go to high school worried about taking care of a child. And then most likely a lot of them drop out. A lot of them drop out of high school. And without a high school diploma, you're going to be useless in society. Bare minimum, you need a high school diploma. It's preferably you have a college degree of some sort. But if you want to get anywhere in this life and have a home and have a family, you need to get a college degree. I know there are people that says, well, I didn't get a college degree, I'm a millionaire. Yeah, there's exceptions to the rules. But not everybody is like the guy. Not everybody is an Elon Musk. Not everybody, is the guy in charge of Microsoft or Windows. Some of these guys are special talented. But if you know Steven Spielberg, he went to college. He went to my college and became a great movie producer. But he went to college. And my youngest son is going to college where he went. He's going to my college too. And he wants to follow Steven Spielberg's role. He wants to make movies. And he's already made movies himself at 17. He's out there somehow got a job and paid for costumes and doing short movies around his town. And people love the little short movies he's made. He has talent. So I think your son needs to realize the state, the social service won't take care of him for his life. And if you're on food stamps or you're on welfare, it's not going to support you. It's a miserable life. It's a miserable life.
Well, that's one reason why from, outside the legalities and stuff of the situation, that as a mother, I'm so frustrated because these people are supposed to be here to help prevent him from becoming that type of member in society. And they've done exact opposite in this situation. There has not been no accountability for anything my child has done. Instead, it's been covered up because they're more concerned with what I've got on them and what they know I have. And it's sad because I'm sitting here as a mother watching my son in their custody and what is occurring, and there's nothing I can do about it. And now they want to come take my other two children that have been here the whole time, saying everything opposite that he is alleging, and they're still getting away with doing what they want. Are you familiar with CASA?
Yes, I am familiar with CASA. CASA is bad news. CASA is given to the children and the parents, if they want it, to supposedly be a support person to help you through the troubled times. But what they are, they have big ears. And everything you say, they report back to the Child Protection Services, or they talk to the Indian Child Welfare. There are big ears. CASA is no good.
Well, the Attorney General filed a motion to get CASA involved, and this CASA advocate came to my house yesterday. She was supposed to be here for an hour, but she ended up being here for 4 hours. In her conversation, she portrayed it to me as if she is supposed to be the eyes and ears for the judge to the things that may not be seen and heard for the judge's sake, and that she was an advocate on my son's side of things. But she made it seem like she's here for truth and that she was not a part of this going on, but I don't know which way to weigh it. I'm not familiar with CASA. I don't know what they do. And so many people have been placed by this Attorney General in this situation. They play real well. I don't need to tell you that. You obviously know a lot about CPS and how they work. They play in your face real well and will be there for a whole nother agenda behind the scenes. So I told the CASA lady the truth of the whole situation, like I've told you, and I don't know where things go from this point. But she did come to my house yesterday.
Yeah, the trouble with CASA, it's a court-appointed, oh, good grief, I forget what SA stands for, court-appointed. It's a court-appointed, I'm looking it up right now. Here it is. It's called a court-appointed special advocate. They're a volunteer. They work on one-on-one with the foster youth. They're supposed to be for the interests of the foster youth. But instead, they've done just the opposite.
If they had a background in law enforcement, do you think, in your experience, that is a bad or a good thing?
I think that would make no difference. They're not representing their responsibility.
40 years in law enforcement experience before she became with CASA.
What's happened? They're to gather information, review documents and records, interview the children, family members, or professionals in children's life, document findings, provide written reports at court hearings. They can also be citizens who are appointed by the dependency court judges and are trained to investigate the circumstances of children who've been removed from the home primarily due to abuse or neglect.
In your experience and knowledge, have you ever saw a situation or it be legal to remove one child on allegations of abuse or whatever and not the other two children? Or have you ever seen a case where they can terminate rights to one child and not the other two?
The answer to both the questions is yes, yes. They can terminate some children of your children's rights and leave others alone. They can also not take the other children. How old are the other children?
14 and 12.
Yeah, they're teenagers, so it's very possible they're not going to worry about them. If there were a 1 month or a 5-year-old baby, they would remove them.
Well, they tried to take them Friday, is why I asked that.
And what grounds do they want to take them?
They wanted me to not go to trial and agree to sign this document where they would take all charges off of me and leave this one, and me agree to sign it. And they said if I didn't sign it, that I was going to lose my other two children. And I have proof of this. I recorded it.
Okay. All right. We're going to have to continue because my time is slowly fast approaching 11 o'clock. I want to thank you. I don't mean you have to go. I'm on again tonight at 7 p.m. if you want to continue this. But my recommendation is don't say anything to the CASA. Don't deal anymore with the Indian child welfare people because it sounds like they're corrupt, especially if the Attorney General is a member of the tribe. You need to go to that news media and expose it. You need to go and tell the senators and the congressmen in your state. You need to contact them. Contact the government.
Can there be any legal repercussions on me for doing that?
This is something called you have the voice of freedom. If you say it professionally and you're not going to malice or anything, and you can say, I think they're doing this or alleged they're doing this way you're not saying it's the truth. There's nothing wrong with you trying to speak your case, but you got to be really careful. And again, I wish you'd talk to an attorney. I have a phone number you can call, and it's 888-888-6582. And talk to Mr. Davis. He'll talk to you for 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. That's 888-888-6582.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to say goodbye and thank you so much. It's an interesting case. Nadine Monger, I'm sorry I didn't get to you. But I would like to have you come again tonight at 7. There she sent a link about the media of the governmental corruption, unfortunately, yes. Stephanie, I would like to talk to you. You can call in at 7 o'clock tonight, and we can talk to you before your court date of August 12th. But thank you, Stephanie Lopez, for coming in. She is from Los Angeles, California. Let me see who else we had here. I think that's it. So this is Bob Pace saying, keep fighting, don't give up, and God bless you. And I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m.